Hey guys, Jimmy here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Fanatec SQ 1.5 shifter. Now as you guys know, I pride myself on transparency. In this case, my deal with Fanatec is that I was offered a quite large discount on both this and the handbrake in exchange for a review on my channel. The reason why I want to put this information out in the open is because I want you guys to know that this review is completely unbiased and is just my opinion on the product. But with that out of the way, let's talk about this shifter, shall we? Getting the shifter working for me initially was actually a little bit difficult. There isn't much info that I could find on the order in which I had to install drivers and firmware. However, once I managed to wrap my feeble mind around that basic installation, I calibrated both the shifter and the handbrake and I was ready to go. The shifter comes with two different gear knobs, one for H-pattern driving and one for the sequential stick shift. For this car I use the sequential mode on the stick, meaning that I have to push away from me to go down a gear and pull towards to shift up. Now the first thing that I noticed about this shifter when bringing it out of its very nice snazzy box is that it's weighty. It feels like a proper piece of equipment. Now please bear in mind that I used to own a Thrustmaster TH8 RS shifter, and whilst that did the job, it did feel like a little bit of a toy. No such complaints are to be had with this SQ 1.5 shifter. One of the big needs I have as a racer slash YouTuber slash meme lord is I need to be flexible, and this shifter allows that. At a literal flick of a switch, I can go between sequential mode and the H-pattern mode. Now on my previous shifter, I was required to undo 4 screws and change base plates. Not only did I manage to lose the base plates, I also managed to lose the screws about 3 or 4 times. I had to purchase more over the course of me having that shifter. Now that process took about 2 or 3 minutes, which may not sound like much. When you're very quickly trying to switch between cars, say for example in my case on your Assetto Corsa Fridays, trying to go between a sequential car and an H-pattern car, 2 or 3 minutes is an absolute lifetime. As a result, I think that ability just to switch between a sequential and the H-pattern mode seamlessly is probably one of my favourite features about this shifter. Now let's focus more specifically on the H-pattern function of the shifter here. The throw on the gears feels a lot shorter than that on my previous shifter. Now this isn't a bad thing, as in real life racing H-pattern gearboxes do have quite a short throw on them. It has meant, however, that whilst I'm getting used to this shifter, I've sometimes found it hard to tell what gear that I'm in. I imagine after a little bit more time, however, this will no longer be a problem. Now the H-pattern is an 8-gated layout, with reverse and 7th gear both requiring you to push down on the stick to engage them. Now having the reverse require you to push down to engage is actually quite realistic to that of a real road car, but you could argue that this would make driving a 7-speed H-pattern quite difficult. But that argument sort of sucks though, because the vast majority of H-pattern cars are either 5 or 6 gears. Now my other favourite thing about this shifter is the actual feel of engaging the gears. Both in sequential and H-pattern mode, the gears have a very positive clunking sensation when you engage them. There is also a fair amount of resistance to the gears as well, giving you a nice realistic feel when you're engaging each gear. Now I realise that feel is a very subjective term, but as a sim racer and of course a massive real life motorsport fan, the idea of getting into my sim rig with my shifter to the side of me and that shifter feeling almost real, it really helps that suspension of reality and really helps immerses me in the sim. Now of course I understand that it is almost impossible to properly simulate the feel of a gearbox without actually having one next to you, but this 1.5 sequential shifter is probably the next best thing. Of course, if you do prefer a looser feel, then you can adjust the tension of the shifter via the adjustment screw on the side, so everyone's happy. Now a point that is fairly unique to me, but I want to talk about mounting. The shifter comes with a couple of plastic inserts that fit into the grooves on the side of the shifter base. Aside from these inserts, there are no mounting equipment or instructions that come with the shifter. I had to come up with my own unique solution. Luckily it's now fairly solid, but it did require me to take a trip down to the hardware shop. You could argue that gear of this quality does traditionally need a little bit more time and effort put into it to mount it properly, but I thought it was worth a mention. The only clear con of this product for me as a PC user is that you actually have to separately purchase a Fanatec PC adapter, or this product will not work with your PC. There is no way to connect it to your PC otherwise. Buying this adapter adds another €20 to the price of this product, and I feel like it's something that really should be included in the price of the product. To sell a product that will have no functionality with one of the systems you design it for if you do not purchase an additional piece of equipment just seems a little bit cheeky to me, but that's my opinion. Overall though, the shifter is a clear improvement over my previous shifter. The build quality and the feel really help add to my immersion and just generally makes it a very fun piece of equipment to use. So guys, if you did enjoy this video and found it informative in any way, then please hit that like button, and if you really enjoyed it, hit subscribe to be notified of future videos. My Fanatec handbrake review will be coming up very shortly, so stick around for that. Take care guys, have an awesome day, see you all next time.